Hello and welcome to this new video. Today we present an Adria, a small Adria, the smallest of the van range, so the 5M41. So we are on the 540, therefore the Adria 540 in more finish, and we immediately attack from the outside chassis Fiat, therefore chassis Fiat sheet rim on it, therefore the outside in white color. We repeat the Adria. We have three ranges. Finally, three levels of in the range in the Adria brand. Access. The more is the supreme. Therefore, the more is the intermediary, the one we are presenting to you today. Electric step, flowering bar BS7, outdoor light, outdoor awning. So why is there the awning? It's not original. It's part of an optional pack that we have at the factory where we will find several equipment. And in particular, in fact, the exterior awning, the filling of clean water, the name Twin 540 speed, plus we see little overhang. The 5M40 is his advantage. It is still a chassis that is very short. So the distance between the front wheel and the rear wheel is the shortest since we are on the shortest chassis. And here we have an overhang which is small, so it makes the vehicle both maneuverable and at the same time easy in terms of when you park, when you're in a parking space, etc. Our rear doors. So here we keep the original doors of the van. There are two rear windows that open. And rear door, so that gives us access in particular to our gas trunk, so with secure regulator. Box of two bottles, we are originally heating, gas combi, and next to it we have our space, so for the cargo hold with the hooks. So we have 4 lashing hooks with the possibility of also closing our door. So if we ever want to partition our cargo hold and storage a little, we'll see them from the inside. Don't be too curious. Hop, and we continue on the outside. So here again we see a misaligned short, still 540, no window on that side. The window, it is only in the living room part. Access to our toilet cassette, the evacuation of the heating, our electrical outlet. And still we did not change the location for fuel and additive to blues. So the Adria 540, we said small vehicle, we really see it. It's a vehicle that is completely compact. And we'll see the space it gives us inside. Here we go. Fiat chassis for this 540. So we recall Fiat this year controls the steering wheel with the new steering wheel. Well, besides, for a few years. It's true that we have seen a lot of Citroën in recent times at Adria. So there, the fact of finding Fiat, we find our new steering wheel that we like. Well, we will say manual gearbox for this model. You can also see what has changed a little. Lately, there is the appearance of a kind of small storage basket there above the dashboard. Before we didn't have that, we had the tablet there often, which stood up there, so it's additional storage, so why not? Air conditioning, regulator, limiter, 12-volt USB sockets. So this is something rather classic store PC cabins. So we rotated the seats, and there we actually see the cabin part. So who is without the storage that is cut out? This is what is called the cab cutout, which makes it possible on such small vehicles to integrate the cab into the really part of the cell. That is to say that the fact of not having this storage there well avoids having a cabin part and a cell part, knowing that we are on a small vehicle, so it gives volume to the vehicle. So as much on a large vehicle, well, you can like or not like the cabin cut, the fact of having storage or not, as much on a small 5M40. I think that's where it takes on all its meaning and interest. When we rotate the seats, well, we necessarily have access to our living room part, therefore our table part, especially on the 5M40. We are smaller than on the 6 Meres. Of course, as you can imagine, The table itself is smaller too. It has a nice extension anyway, especially so that our passenger can eat. The table also slides a little. We can move it forward and back then within a certain limit again, because since we are on a 5M40 and well, the table has less amplitude than on a 6M or a 6M36. But as we said, the advantage of the 5M40 is little overhang. It is a very maneuverable vehicle, so a vehicle goes everywhere. So our storage in the living room is the small cupboards that we have just above right into the cab. So rather practical. The passengers find themselves in front of me, so we will say facing the road for the blow, and the passengers above their heads. They have all the equipment you need, including 220 sockets, 12-volt sockets, USB sockets. So they really have everything you need, especially for charging tablets or such while riding. Another interesting point is the brightness of this vehicle. So right above you have a skylight, 70 by 50, which gives us a lot of light. Again, for a few years, Adria has chosen light tones for their furniture. So also being in white, being in beige, etc., it makes the vehicle luminous. But if we didn't actually integrate those lanterns there, it would still make it darker. So they're in the living room. And once again, today we are not lucky enough to have a big sun. And despite everything, we can see clearly in the vehicle. Therefore, our kitchen area, therefore with the gas fires and the water point part right next to it, we are not separated. It is a single block. So the interest is also to be able to keep room here to cook at the end. Because Ben in 5M40 actually has to make choices. We don't have undefined space, so the choice was to gather together to be able to have space here, to be able to set up business. In terms of storage, we have a drawer under the water corner. Without the covered storage, it's Adria. Negative point, the second drawer, a little bigger, and third drawer. So there is a room left. Okay? In the kitchen, we see 3 drawers in terms of storage. We are also in storage at the top. Which is very big. And of course, you lack a small fridge anyway to go with this kitchen. Refrigerator at the end of the kitchen. Compression refrigerator. So at the end of the kitchen, what's interesting is that it actually opens completely, which actually allows us, even from the outside, to be able to grab things. So the shower cabinet part. Toilets, so everything in the same room. The Ted Ford, so the tape, who? Always we have said it and said it again. It swivels to leave you space at the level of the legs. You can see next to it, I have my mixer for my water point for toothbrushes, etc. Wash your face, do your hair, mirror, and above storage, so a closed storage. I also have my little towel rack right at the top, right next to it, my skylight. I have no window in this one, so they made the choice to put a skylight for ventilation. Anyway, what they often say, whether it's a skylight or a window, it doesn't matter. The goal is to have a system to be able to ventilate easily. On the shower of the 5M40, we are not on the shower vario that some know at Adria. With a system that pivots there, we can only close the door, so that's for privacy and for the shower. I'm on the 5M40 still with a curtain system, so I'm going to have a curtain which is hidden behind my door, which will go around in particular. In fact, all the part which is made of wood or other, which is more sensitive. We're going to tell the water that I shouldn't get wet especially. And on the other hand, they put the mixer and shower head apart. So that's a good thing. What is interesting is the side. So even if we don't have the vario wall, it's because the curtain doesn't go all the way around me. It is actually only on the back part, so its rail is up there. We'll set it up for you afterwards. So that way we don't have this side where the curtain comes directly to surround us, and the fact of having put your own mixer. But that's also good. It avoids pulling the one we often have on the sink part. I'll put up the curtain for you and I'll see you right away. So I put the curtain up. So if we said the purpose of the curtain is to hide all this part that must not be wet, or at least if I have things next door, it's going to be complicated if I have my cotton next to me and I'm taking my shower. So everything falls into the tray at the bottom. Interesting, therefore, heating. The shower is heated and we have 2 evacuations to make the water leave. So there, even if there is a shower curtain behind it, there is no risk that the curtain will come squarely against me, like when you are completely wrapped in the curtain. So the bedroom part at the back, the transverse bed part, because we are on a transverse bed there. So we are already going to attack with the storage of the bedroom part. We see that we still have a lot of money. Quite a few closets. So with such an interesting thing is this little ventilation grill that we have in the closets. This is to prevent condensation in the cupboards, so it doesn't seem like anything. But the insulation, etc., of a van is not necessarily always easy with risks of thermal bridges or other. And the fact that when my closet is closed, I get cold in the back. In winter, I get warm inside because I heat up. The risk, in fact, is that if there is poor ventilation in my closet, we will have condensation. So the goal is actually to create small vents to avoid this phenomenon. So we also have closets at the very end. That's good at Adrian's. They also made it a habit to make closets on actually a U shape at the back of the rooms. This way, we optimize the maximum space. Otherwise, it is often a place that is a bit lost. And and in the 5M40, it's all the more important as we need to store the bed. And the bed in Versailles, which is it is not quite rectangular, wider at the head. So there, Adrian had us planned to put our head here, despite only being on the 5M40. The small spot of light, we have it as well on the right side, in fact, as the left side, at the level of the feet or the head, depending on how we want to put ourselves, knowing that the USB sockets are also there. We had already mentioned it at Adria, but we have a lot of empty pockets actually, all around the vehicles, in the rear doors, in the door corners here. So it's good. It's that all the small objects, telephone, etc., the small magazine, well, in fact, I'm going to be able to put it in my empty pocket and it's not going to get in my way. It's not going to hang out in my bed. Opening the back door. We can open the back door from the inside because they shifted the handle at Adrian's. So that's a good thing. It avoids having to. Otherwise, you have to lift the mattress. You have to try to get between the two. Sometimes it's simply not possible. So here I can open. So whether it's in the morning to ventilate, whether it's for an emergency, to be able to get out that way is also possible. We have mattresses that are comfortable at Adrian's. Well, that's why you have to come and test them in the store, see how they are. So come and see the vehicles at the dealership, but it's rather comfortable. One point that we didn't mention in the room is the light, the brightness, 2 rear windows. We talked about it, the skylight. Since it's a small vehicle, they chose to put it a little. A mix between the kitchen and the bedroom. It is roughly placed in the middle, so that's good, like that. It gives clarity in the kitchen and in the bedroom without putting 2 skylights. Because the risk of having to put 2 skylights is to deprive us of space above for solar panel, for example. And so here we could also integrate one, use at this location if we wanted for air conditioning. Besides, if you are interested in us making a video, tell us. We had already made one on the operation of air conditioning in particular, where we put a vehicle in a climatic chamber, therefore a heated chamber, in fact, where we made the air conditioning work with temperature drops, etc. And if you ever want us to make a video air conditioning with other information, other technical details or others, well, do not hesitate to put it in the comments. And like that, we will try to make you this one on an accessory a little. Technique and an accessory that pleases more and more, or at least people. Unfortunately, with the summers, when one has or other, one is forced to go through air conditioning to be comfortable at night in his vehicle. So we know it's an accessory that becomes important. So the description of the Adria, so Twin Plus 540 SPB, we are on the Fiat Ducato chassis in 2L, 240 horses chassis, 3 tons 3 with a payload of 557 kilos. 4 places, registration card, and 2 beds. The dimensions of the vehicle, therefore, we have 10.5 m 40 for the length, 2m, 0.5 for the width, and 258 for the height. Clean water makes 100L, wastewater makes 70L, refrigerator makes 84L in 1 mass salt. Compression refrigerator heating, we are on a gas Truma combi. The size of the rear bed, important on a 5 m 40, 196 long, so rather a nice length. The width is 127 at the widest point and 113 at the narrowest point. Vehicle equipment, we didn't say it, moreover, it has a cell door mosquito net. We could have shown it. It is indeed there, the exterior blind, the pleated blinds. So we added the pack with the solar panel. So there you haven't seen it on the roof, but there is a solar panel and the multimedia, which has not yet been mounted. So Zenec Multimedia in Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And so the vehicle with all its equipment is offered at the price of $673.90. So we recall it, all the details, descriptions, photos or other. They are on the 3W website, campingcarseas.fr. We do not forget the site too. It allows you to see if there are vehicles that it is in clearance, some special offer or other. So really check it regularly because sometimes there may be the vehicle you are looking for at the best price. So don't hesitate. And if you have any questions, you know where to reach us, email address, phone number, and we say see you soon in the next video. Good useful travel. Bye-bye.